there's a lake in the middle of Florida called Lake Okeechobee, where a lot of extra rainwater gets pumped to keep towns and whatnot from flooding. Right now, the water levels in the lake are way too high, and so they've opened up gates on the dike, and they're shunting all this fresh lake water into the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean. And it's really, normally you'd think, so it's water going into water, no big deal, but it's actually not the cleanest water. All the land south of Lake Okeechobee is run by big sugarcane plantations, and so they pump all their runoff, all their fertilizer, drainage, and whatnot back into the lake. So any pesticides or chemical fertilizers get pumped into that water. And then it just sits stagnant. Naturally, the state of Florida is like a big filter sponge that, as freshwater heads south, it percolates through the Everglades and through the swamp and gets filtered into the aquifer, and that's where it stays for us to drink. But by pumping it all into the lake, it's holding all the pollutants and it just sits there. Now, since they've opened up these dikes, the this brown, disgusting sludge water is being shunted directly into the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico. Since I believe they opened the gates probably a week and a half ago, and they've dumped about 3.5 billion gallons into the Gulf. And I saw a recent study they did water samples in the river leading to the Gulf and some of the Gulf areas, and there's like no oxygen content in this water, and there's really high chemical content from the fertilizers, and it's just killing everything as it goes downriver into the Gulf. There are mass die-offs. There were articles in the paper about like tons and tons of invertebrates being washed ashore, thousands or more. And it's all the animals that can't swim to deeper water and get away. Things like starfish and sea cucumbers and crabs and those types of animals are just dying off in droves. It's also making a lot of the tourist industry impossible because, we can't go diving if you can't see anything. Fishermen are having trouble. I know that one of my friends was out fishing yesterday, and every fish that they put into the live well, which is, where you put the fish to keep them alive on the boat once you catch them, they died within minutes because there's just no oxygen in that water. What it's also doing is when you dump that much fresh water into the Gulf of Mexico, it can result in something called red tide, which is an algal bloom, which takes up even more oxygen out of the water, but also causes things like skin reactions, and in humans and other mammals, and can cause respiratory issues and stuff. So tourists don't even want to go to the beach anymore. This is also a problem for the manatees, which are highly endangered and people are trying to protect. And it also causes, it results in bacterial blooms. We have E. coli and flesh-eating bacteria that can result of this. It's horribly disgusting, and they're supposed to stop when the lake levels go down. But there's been so much rain since they opened the gates, the lake levels are actually still going up. Like, it isn't even offsetting the amount of rain that we're getting, which is just heartbreaking, because it's making things in the Gulf so bad. The kicker to all this is that, from what I understand, back in 2004, this issue was actually voted on, and the people wanted a different solution than dumping all this water into the Gulf. I believe it was some sort of a renovation of the dike surrounding Lake Okeechobee that was supposed to happen. And it passed by like an overwhelming majority. So this should not be happening right now. For whatever reason, and I'm new to the area, so I'm still learning all this. But yeah, a lot of people are very, very upset because we live right on the water. This is the Gulf is like our backyard, and to be suddenly not able to get into it and do what it is we're we enjoy doing. I mean, diving is my career. There are people that are fishermen. There are people that like fishing charters. Um, and even sunset cruises are things like you look down in the water and it's disgusting. Um, I don't know what they're going to do to fix it. I understand that these sugar cane farms have a lot of pull politically, and I don't know what the solution could be, but something has to get fixed because it's heartbreaking.